Hi everyone, this is Amun, and I see a thumbs up from Mandara and Alec. And we're going to start our lecture today on implicit intent. I hope you are enjoying working on your project 2C. And I hope overall this has been an enjoyable experience. I apologize if you can hear a background sound. My wife is making some Vietnamese pho, vegan Vietnamese pho. We found a good recipe, and that's we are air frying some tofu. Uh, Forgive me for that. Should be done pretty soon. Um, but I hope that doesn't bother you too much. I do have a microphone. So can you guys hear me clearly? Okay, so you guys can hear me clearly. All right, so that doesn't bother you. Okay, that's great. All right, so let's get started today. Unless anyone has any question about 2B. If you have questions regarding grading of 2B, please contact Spencer. I am not in charge of the grading. They usually just run the script and then they give you a grade. And if you think, you have done some partial work, you need some grade for the work you did, then you can just visit the TA, and you can delete the code, like the test scripts that are not working, and just run the ones that are running and get your grades back, right? So please do that, right? Try to be diligent to get as much grade as possible right now. So let's get started. The lecture today is going to be long. It's going to be long with a lot of details. I'm just going to continue in the flow. Please, yeah, feel free to ask questions. But again, you also have Piazza and the TAs to ask the questions. But today's lecture is going to be long. I think we're going to be covering implicit intent, and we're also going to be covering the taking pictures. And then if we have time, maybe this lecture will go even for 2 hours today. If we have time, I will even finish 2B so that I don't have to record it. It's much better for me that if I can finish everything at once rather than having to record it separately, right? So I would prefer that. So let me get started right away with the lecture. Let me start sharing my screen. Hope you can see my screen. And I might take a couple of breaks in between for a minute or two because it's going to be a long lecture today. All right, so let me share the screen. Hope you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Can someone give me a thumbs up? Okay, I got 2 thumbs up. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna start with, let me bring out the slides. I've already put the slides on Canvas if you want to open the slides yourself. There's not too much in the slides, actually. There's not too many things in the slide today. The only thing is we're gonna do a lot of coding today and not talk too much about theory, right? So that's been my approach throughout throughout this class, right? It has been practical demonstration rather than talking too much about theory. I hope that has been helpful, right? So let me talk a little bit about implicit intent, and then we'll start our live coding on taking pictures, right? So we'll be actually, hold on, where is that? Okay, so we are here, right? So we are at project 2C. So I'll give you some theory on implicit intent, which is gonna touch briefly what it is. You'll have to figure this for yourself out. Please start this today after the end of this lecture. But we'll be working on this together today, number 5. We'll be working on number 5 together. And then next week, we're going to work on these 2 features. So you have only a few of these to implement yourself, but that's going to be, I think if you look at the book and if you paid attention in the lecture, I think it should point you in the right direction, right? So I hope that's going to be good. And also remember, remember to download this file, picturesutil.kit. You don't have to download this test because we're still not done with it, everything. I think next week we will be close to be done. Of course, we're not going to finish everything for 2C. You'll be doing some of the features yourself, right? So, so let's go on with the lecture, right? So let's go with the implicit intent. So implicit intent, right? So we did something like explicit intent in our, I think it was for project 1C, where we passed values, some kind of variable, right? A Boolean or text or something from one activity class to another, right? So if you remember our project 1C, we passed from the main activity to the summary activity, right? Or the cheat summary or something like that if you read the book. That's what we did, right? An explicit intent is used to start a specific activity. We then the same app. So this will start within the same app, right? You explicitly define the activity to launch by specifying its class name, right? So that was that, right? And hold on. And implicit intent, on the other hand, is used to request actions or services from other apps, right? So for example, if you want to like open a camera, something to take a picture, or you want to open a messaging app with some pre-template, like say from a group chat, you want to send the share link, then that's actually using implicit intent, right? Those features. Or say you want to browse the web through the app, right? So that's using implicit intent, right? The operating system resolves the intent by looking for the app that can handle the requested action as registered in their Android manifest.xml. So you'll see that in this lecture, in the live coding section, we'll spend about a good 10 minutes just configuring the Android manifest. And I'm going to give you some details, not going to super detail, but I'll talk as I write those configuration code, right? And then common actions in implicit intent are action view. These are the common actions. Open a URL or a file in the appropriate app so that you can, or open the dialer with a number pre-filled, right? So for example, you just click on an app or even your iPhone, right? And then it has your phone, like your friend's phone number. And when you tap on it, it will immediately put the phone number on the dial, right? Or action sent, share content like text or images or via other apps, right? You can share these things. Just like explicit intent, implicit intents can carry extra data, right? Key value pairs, which we've already discussed we haven't done a project on this, right? So this can be done. To create an implicit intent, you must have the action, which we talked about, MIME type, a type of data to be handled, like a text, plain text, images, different things, data location, the URI or location of the resource to act upon, right? A web URI or a file path, right? Using action chooser. If multiple apps can handle the same action, the system may prompt the user to choose one. So again, we will show today that we don't necessarily choose a certain app to do a task when we are configuring Android manifest, right? What we do is we just say what can take a picture, right? There might be multiple apps, right? For example, if you have like a browser kind of a thing that opens from an app, it will say Safari or like Google Chrome or other new fancy browsers, right? So that's what this is talking about. Querying the package manager, and you know what? Let's skip all this stuff, right? We are actually going to do all of this. There's not too much left here. So let's just start live coding now. Let me pull up my code and my notes here on the side. And then I'm going to start working on this, right? So let's get started here. Okay, so what do we need to do? So we are going to work on taking pictures today, right? So that's the first thing we're going to do, take pictures. So what we're going to do here is, first of all, we're going to right click on, can you guys see my Android Studio? Can someone give us a thumbs up? Okay, 2 thumbs up, cool. Thank you, Alec and Mendera. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. So let's get started, right? So first of all, we're gonna start creating a right click on this XML file. This is just to set up some directory configuration. So let me do that. So let's right click on this. We have one more student coming. So right click on this, and then we're just gonna do new XML resource file. And then after that, we're gonna name this files. And then we're gonna say main XML, which is fine, right? This is okay. Let's just create this. We don't need to go into the design view. Let's just go to the code. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna remove all these preference and all this stuff. What we're gonna do is, we can keep that XML thing there at the top, but we're gonna do something called paths. And then we'll do something like file paths. And then I'm gonna explain briefly what this, excuse me, this does. Hold on. So we'll put a couple of things in this. Hold on. Let me just copy and paste this. This always gives me some issues. So this is just some configuration stuff. But for this, you're just going to add like the paths and the file path. This is just saying where the pictures is going to be stored, the name, and this is just giving you like the path where it's going to be stored, right? So wherever the path is, it's just going to be in the main directory, right? And then we're going to name this dream photos, right? And that's the path of the file. We're just doing some configuration right now. Nothing serious here. Okay, so what do we do next? After that, hold on, just let me just close the air fryer. Just give me 1 second. Bantu, honey, can you close the air fryer? It's done. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Oh, I think it's closed. All right, so so let's do this, right? So let's get started in the Android manifest. Let's go and do some configuration. Let's work on some configuration. So we're gonna have to do some configuration, right? So the first thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to add a provider, right? So, and I'm gonna talk about what this provider does. So let me just copy and paste this. Please type this out yourself. I'm just gonna copy and paste this. It's again, this is a very long lecture. I do have to like copy and paste some of these code, all right? So let me just copy and paste this code here, but I'm gonna explain what this is doing step by step so that you guys are not like, okay, so first thing you wanna do is you wanna add this use as feature. I'll talk about what that does. And then also add this provider. It's a long line of code here, which I'm going to add, and then I'm going to talk about this step by step. So add this provider here as well. As you can see, this provider. So let's talk about this, right? The first thing you do is add this uses. So we will add this. Where is that? The uses. It's here, right? So the uses feature. We will add the camera. We are adding like a camera from your hardware, right? And this is saying like this is not required to start the app, right? If you don't have camera, that's fine. We're just not going to use a camera. But it's saying try to look for a camera app in your phone, right? That's all that is saying, right? The second thing we want to talk about is the add this provider thing that we just put here, right? Let's just go briefly over this. So let's just say so this file provider, the first thing you see is this file provider establishes a secure connection without exposing the file path directory, right? So say you're sharing this, something like that, or you want to get the picture, right? You don't have to explicitly mention your directory, right? So that it can secure your files. So this is basically what that is doing. So this is the main use of this, right? The second thing is authority is used by other apps to access the file managed by the provider, right? So if other apps wants to use your file, then this is what it's used, right? And the second thing is we said this is exported is false because currently it's not available to other apps, right? It's just saying right now it's not available to other apps. We're just keeping it there for now. And then this grant URI permission gives temporary access to files to the content using the intent-based sharing, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about this. That's what this is doing, right? And now let's add one more thing here, and then we're going to talk about metadata. We're going to add one more thing. We're going to add something called queries at here. I'm just going to copy and paste this as well. I've already written this code. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And what this so this query is what this is basically saying is there any app here? We asked if there's a hardware to do that, right? This one is saying is there any app that can do the action of taking pictures, right? So that's all that is saying here, right? I think I added metadata, right? So this is the only thing that's left for us to explain. So metadata is basically is the key that file provider used to find file paths and point to XML that defines which directory or files the file provider can expose, right? So we created this XML file and that is giving us the directory, right? And then this is basically used to find the file paths and point to the XML. So this is just pointing you to that XML file, right? So this is basically what this is doing. A lot of configuration files. I think you will get better at these things as you use Android. I mean, develop in Android more. Again, like this class is not the end of the journey of learning Android development, but this is a beginner course, I would say, right? You want to learn a lot, and this does give you a good solid foundation, but you want to learn more of this as you mature in your programming skills and also your Android development skills, right? So this is all the configuration we're going to do for now. Please remember the things we add is this uses features, add that to your code, add this provider, and then you also add these queries, right, to see if there's any app to do what you need to do, right? So that those are the few things for the configuration. Let me close that. And then we're going to create a menu. I think we already created a menu in the last lecture, but we're going to create a menu for, so let's start the app. Let's see where we were at last lecture. Um, so I'm just running this app. Let me just show you where we were last lecture. I think we created a menu to add a new reflection, right? So this is the menu that we created in the last class, but this time we need to create a menu for the dream detail fragment, right? We're not going to create a menu for dream list fragment. The only thing we added was this plus sign, which is fine. And I showed you guys where to get these icons, right? It was I think it was in Piazza Post 74 uses. It's a very easy thing to do. I'm just going to copy and paste these things. I'm just going to explain the code portions of this, right? And step by step explain the logic, because this is, I believe, I don't know. I hope it's a short class, but I think it's going to be a long lecture today. So that's where we were last lecture, right? So let's go to the menu here. We're going to create some menu. So we're going to do right click here and then create a new menu resource file. And then we're going to name it fragment dream detail. So this menu is going to be for the fragment dream detail. The previous one was for the fragment dream list, right? So we're just going to create this menu. And then we're going to add a couple of things, right? We're going to add the share dream button, which you're going to work yourself. And we're going to put the camera taking a picture thing, right? So let's start with this. We're going to add a couple of things here. We're going to say, let's add the menu item here. And then we're going to, actually, we're just going to title, we're going to add a string resource, string, not a string resource, I think string value. We're going to name this share dream, and then we're going to just share dream, right? So this is going to share dream. That's all we need to do for now. And then the next thing is we're going to add some icons. I'm just going to copy and paste the icon. I already have the icons here, but I think I showed you how to get those icons, right? So I'm going to get an icon for share. I'm just going to paste it here from my computer, right? So I'm just going to paste it here. Share. So we got the share icon, which you guys are gonna get it yourself. I've already told you how to do that. And another one I'm gonna do is the camera, right? I don't want to search for it. You basically have to go to this resource and then add a vector and all this, but I don't want to search for that, right? It's just, I don't want to do that right now. And then I'm gonna copy the camera and paste it, and then we get the camera icon, right? So we got get these two icons. Let me close this. So we got those two icons. That's basically what we need to do. And then click. So what do I do next? I add the icon. Hold on. I think I'm just going to do menu dream detail. And I think I just do the app icon, I think. Yeah, app icon. Just going to do icon, Android, yes. And then we're going to, for the share, we're going to add the share, this icon. And yeah, I think that's what we need to do. And another thing is we're going to get another one, right? So, oh, okay, so let's go to the code view. Let's just add some few more things here. First of all, we need to add manually the Android width and the height here. So let me go here and add the layout. Again, you know what? Let me just copy and paste this, right? I don't want to type this out. We have probably done this like 100 times now. All right, so we do that. We add this let's add the ID as well. The ID was not given, so we're gonna put this shared dream menu as the ID. So if you go here now, it's gonna share shared dream ID. So we're gonna add that. We're gonna add that. We're gonna do the wrap content. We added the icon. We added the title, and then let's copy and paste this, right? And we'll make another one for the camera, right? Let's make another one for the camera, right? So this is gonna give me issues here. I'm gonna say not share dream, but this is gonna be called take photo menu. The ID is going to be take photo menu, wrap content, wrap content. And for this, we're going to add the camera icon. Let's add this, right? And then here, hold on, let's fix a couple of things here. So take photo menu. For this icon, we're going to change it to the camera icon. Let's add that camera icon. And then we're going to add, instead of take photo menu, I'm going to say, oh yeah, that is a take photo. Anyways, so let's add another string here, string value. Then we're going to say, I think we'll just say take photo maybe. Take photo. And then we'll just say take photo. And then just add that. That's just going to be the title. Like here, the title. The last thing we want to have to do is we're going to add this thing that I showed you guys last lecture that we did for the dream list fragment is the show as icon, as action. And then you need to check two things if you remember. What is this doing? Excuse me. So you're going to have to check box two things, if room with text, right? These two things. And I explained to you in the last lecture what that is, and then that takes that icon at the top. And then the same thing for this one as well. We're going to add the show as action. And then here we're going to simply add if room with text and then apply it. So that this is going to take it there, right? Again, let's look at this, like how this looks like in a landscape mode. This is what it looks like. It gives you, if it has more room, it will put those share dream take photos, and that's working now, right? So let me check if I finished everything for this icons. Let me see. I think I finished everything. So I think I did everything. I think I did everything. Okay, so our menu for the dream detail is complete now. So let's so now this lecture is going to be a little bit long, and one of the reasons that this lecture is going to be a little bit long is like we have to fix some things, right? So we're going to have to, so let's close this. The menus are done. We're going to add it through the fragment here later. We're going to add using the dream detail fragment here. One of the reasons this lecture is going to be long is we're going to create this layout, right? We're going to add something. We're going to be able to add a picture like a box here, and then we can also do the same for this. And hopefully I can finish this as quickly as possible, right? I would like to get this out of the way and focus more on the coding section. So let's work on the layout a little bit. Let's see what I can do to fix this, right? So I do need to pull up some help on the side to help me. Like yeah, it's good to do it. Yeah, I mean, please try it yourself. But this is something you can also follow along and learn the techniques, right? So let's look at this. How do I do this? So let me close this out. We have the vertical, we have this, and hold on. Actually, let me also make the floating action button that you guys were supposed to make last week so that it's easier for you guys. Okay, so let's do that, right? So let's do everything here at the same time. So let me add the pictures first, right? To add the pictures, we are given this text view. We are given this text view, which basically is like at the top. And then in the middle here, we need to add the picture, right? So right below this text view, we need another linear layout. We actually need two horizontal linear layout, right? And in that horizontal linear layout, we need to add all those pictures and all those other stuff, right? So let me go here and look at everything quickly so that I make sure that I'm done everything correctly so far. The main vertical layout is match parent. We put a margin there, which is fine. And then let's add and then let me look at the vertical. This has to be match parent and wrap content and vertical, which is fine. And then let me look at the text view real quick. It has to be wrap content, wrap content. This is fine. I think text appearance. Okay, cool. So let's add two different linear layouts here. So where is the linear layout? So linear layout, we'll put two horizontal linear layouts here below this text view. So one is this one, and we'll add another one here. Not inside here, just outside here, right? Two linear layouts. And then let's also fix some things for the linear layout. We need to have it match parent, which is good. For the second one, we need to have so this is match parent, which is good. The second one has to be match parent and wrap content, right? We don't want to extend the height to more than what we need. All right, so let's add some things here. In the first linear layout, for the first linear layout, we'll have to put the dream. Okay, so for the first, okay, so there's more stuff going on here. So for the first linear layout, we'll have to put like the image. So let's put this image here, and then just put some avatars here for now. It will just give you some random images, which is fine for now. We'll add some image view, and then we'll add another. We need to add another vertical layout right next to it, right? So let's add another vertical linear layout. I know this gets a little bit confusing, but bear with me. I think it's going to be nice. Everything is going to look nice and clean after we're done with this. And then we put this vertical layout, and then we have another, let me close this, and then we have another linear layout. In here, in this layout, we will put, okay, so this is, I'm getting a little bit confused here. I think, oh, okay, so I think we just need to, hold on, remove this. I don't need this two horizontal layout actually. I just need one, and I have the image view and the vertical layout. On the this vertical layout, we need to put this title text. This title text that's in the vertical layout, I'm just going to put it there. And this last updated text, also, I think I need to put it here, basically, not at the top, at the bottom. Basically put those, and then we have this one horizontal layout. And in there, we will add the fulfill checkbox, this and that, and then we'll have the vertical layout, obviously. And then, okay. So it makes sense. I think we have everything we need. We just need to fix everything now, step by step, right? So that's good. That's, I think, good. I think we already did that last time. Match parent, wrap content. Let's go to this linear layout, match parent. It's good. Let's go to this picture. This is the picture we're going to be changing. Let's say this picture is dream photo. Let's just name that dream photo, and then we'll refactor it. Okay, so dream photo, and then it's layout width is, we're gonna name it to 80. We're gonna make it very specific here, right? So I know we're gonna say 80 dp, and then we're gonna layout, we're gonna add a margin here, layout margin. We're gonna say 8 dp is the layout margin. We have this layout weight. We don't need this layout weight. Okay, so let's do this. ID, we got that. And then we're going to add a bunch of attributes here. Let me just, and let's add a background here. We don't need the avatar background. We'll just say, we're just going to add this color. What kind of colors? Material. Let's just add material dynamic neutral in the background. Um, that's, I think, fine. Let's add a little bit of a grayish color. So we have the layout width, height, margin, background. We need to give like a content description. So if someone like content description, we'll just say dream photo. If someone has a tooltip, I think they can just say dream photo here. Crop to padding. Let's just say yes, true. Scale type. We just add a bunch of features here. Please look into more into these things. I'll do center inside. So we'll just change some of these things, and I think that's good enough for this. Let's add the work on the linear layout, this vertical one. This linear layout will have match parent. Match parent, we don't need this layout weight. Let's add the gravity as center vertical. That's basically going to be do center and in the vertical, right? So let's do center vertical, apply. You see that this will move a little bit in the center vertical direction. And orientation, which is good. Title text, I think we already done this before. So I think this is good to go. I think the last updated text is also good. I think we already solved this before. Wrap content, okay, that's good. And another linear layout, I think we already did this one. We have the checkboxes. That's match parent wrap content. Yeah, that's good. Checkboxes. I think we already did the checkboxes space. We added the space and we added this. Okay, so this is good. We can close that one. Close that one. And this, the vertical is the one at the bottom. I think the main thing we need to do for this vertical, I think people were asking me this question, was I need to make this layout height to wrap content, and I think it should fix main of the issues, right? So this is already fixing that issue. So you can already see this reflection now, right? So let's put it there. Let's add a space here. Not inside, outside. And then we're gonna say match parent 0 dp. We're gonna add the layout weight. Oops. Oh no, what did I do? Hold on. That's not wrap content. Oh, thank. That's not good. 0 dp. And then we'll do the weight as 1. It's just gonna push that a little bit down. It's just gonna push this thing, the floating button, and then this add reflection button. Let's work on this a little bit, right? So this is what you needed to do for project to be phase 2, right? So let's do this work on this a little bit. It doesn't matter. I think wrap content is fine. True layout gravity, that's what we need to change so that we can put this at the end, right? So we're gonna put this at the end. I think that should put this at the end. So now it goes over here. And then also we need to change this not to a cross. Well, let's add a plus sign here. Since you're adding reflection, looks much nicer than that, right? So I think this is good. I think we are, what is this issue saying? Yeah, so this is giving some issues. So I think I would just, how can I add this here? How do I add this? Oh, some accessibility things. I think what you can do is add this thing called ignore. We are just going to ignore some accessibility things that it's asking us to take care of. We're just going to say, yeah, I don't think that's going to matter too much. We're just going to ignore a couple of things here. Speakable text present check. And so this is some accessibility thing. I don't think that's going to matter too much, but speakable text present and image contrast check, right? So we're just going to ignore that for now. It's good to have those accessibility features. I would highly recommend you as even as HCI students to focus on accessibility, but we're going to ignore that for now for this for this course, right? So we're going to ignore that. And I think we are done with that for now. We are done with everything, right? So we came up with the horizontal layout. Let's work on the vertical layout now. Let's work on this, and I think we are done with the layout. We're going to jump into the more into the coding section after we finish this. So let me remove this, the horizontal, and make sure you need to have all the IDs the same, right? So just make sure that that's the case. All right, so let's go to the vertical layout. This also I need to do the similar change. Actually, I think this might be easier than the other one. Let me see. I think so. I think this was a little bit more less tricky than the, yeah, I hope so. So we have the stream, we're gonna have that separately, which is good. Here in between, we're gonna add another horizontal layout like we did before. Let me just add a horizontal layout. And in that horizontal layout, we're gonna add the image. Let's add the image like we did before. We just say avatars for now. And in there, we're gonna add one more thing, image view. And then we're gonna add another vertical linear layout inside this thing, which we did like for the layout for the portrait as well, right? So let's do this. Let's add the vertical here, vertical inside the horizontal. And that in here, you'll be adding a couple of things, right? So you'll just be adding this title text and the last updated text. Move it this one here and move this one. Move that one there, right? So I think that's good. And I think this linear layout is good already. I think this is fine. We're gonna add a reflection button after this spacing here. Or actually, we're gonna add, okay, I will figure that out. Just let's do one step at a time. It gets confusing here when I look at too many things. All right, so let's look at this thing, image view. We're gonna add this. Remember to name the same thing, all right? Otherwise, it's gonna give you issues. It has to refactor and like change to the other. Yeah, it's gonna refactor. So dream photo, we're gonna do 80 dp. Just make it small enough. DP, and then we're gonna remove this layout where we don't need that. A dream photo, which is fine. Avatar, and feel free to do the rest, right? All the background and all the other stuff, right? I'm not going to work on that right now. I'll let you guys figure that out. So that's good. But I did think we added some margin. It looks a little bit weird here. Margin, layout margin, yes. So I think it was 8 dp. So yeah, that margin makes it look a little bit nicer. That's good. So this stream photo is done. I think this linear layout, let me check that. Linear layout is match parent, match parent. We don't need this layout, wait. And orientation vertical, which is good. Title text. And this thing, I think it's good. It's in a good shape. Let's look at this horizontal now. That's done. Let's look at that horizontal. We have the linear layout space fulfilled, deferred. I think that's good. Match wrap content, that's good. And we need some space here right after this. After this, we need a space so that we can add that floating button here. So let's work on that right now. We need a space right below this, right? So let's add a space here. Common, where are the spaces? Space, okay. So let's add a space, not here, but one level outside of that. Hold on, how do I do this? So one layer outside of that, right? So we need the space to push the floating action button. Space, that space is good, but this space we need to be able to push this pillow, right? So we'll have to do match parent. That's fine. In the width wrap, we're just gonna do 0 dp, and then we're gonna do a weight of 1. And then why is that not pushing anything? That's supposed to push, right? I mean, where am I doing something wrong? I mean, all right, it's fine. We'll just add the floating action button. I'll let you guys figure that out. Um, so we need to add this add button right after that, and then we'll add this thing. And then this should have pushed me all the way down here. I'm not sure why it's not doing that. Why is that not pushing? Match parent, that is supposed to push you down. Yeah, let's fix this one actually. Let's add the reflection button. It's fine, even if it's floating here, that's no problem, right? I just wanted to make it consistent, but and you remember this name has to be the same, add reflection button, and then it has to refactor and go, and it will have show a conflict. Match parent wrap content true is good. Add reflection button, this is good. We're gonna ignore the accessibility thing again. We're just gonna say so that it doesn't give us any issues here. I think, yeah, I copy and paste this. And I wanna add, I think that's good. All right, the only thing I'm concerned is why didn't that push it down? I mean, that's very strange. Yeah, so this needs to push it down. I'm not sure exactly. I'll let you guys figure that out, right? That does not affect your grading of the project, but this is how it's gonna look like. It's fine for now. So I think we are done with the layout. Everything else is the same. Remember, in the next lecture, we're going to replace this entry button, the manual entry button, with the recycler view. So next week, we're going to work on that. So we're going to replace some of these in the next lecture. All right, so that was it took me a while to figure out the layouts and everything, but I hope we are done with that. It's really bothering me that I can't push this down, but I need to look at this code in more detail, right? But which I don't want to do right now. Let me check one more time. What did I do? Layout weight. All right, it doesn't matter. I'll let you guys figure that out. I think some of these, maybe it's probably some issue with, so that's, oh, okay, maybe this is the issue. Maybe this is not letting us, hold on. This bothers me. Oh, maybe this has to be, and then, or vertical. This was wrap content, and that's where it got stuck. And this space is there. Oh, I see, I see, I see. So I think I need to put this right outside of here, actually. That might be the solution, actually. How can I get this out of here? Oh, that's just messing up really bad. It's fine. I'll just put it here for now. That is really bothering me, actually. Yeah, you see the problem, right? So you see that this layout covers all of this and this is inside here. It needs to push, it needs to come outside of this and then push it down. So I'll let you guys figure that. I do see the problem here. I just don't know how to, I mean, I probably will spend some time fixing that, but that should be good. That should be able to give you both yeah, it's good enough for now. So I'll let you guys figure that out. Let's get with the coding part, right? There's a lot to do with the camera. So let's see where where I need to go right now. Okay, so where am I? It's a long. Okay, so we need to start writing the code now in the dream detail fragment, right? So that's where we're gonna go first. This is what we wrote so far. In the same way we added the menu in the fragment dream list, we're gonna add the menu. So let's do that, right? So let's add the menu. So we're gonna go to where is that? We're gonna go to the on create view, and we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the menu that we created for the plus button. In the last lecture, we're gonna require the activity. If you guys don't know what this is, please check the last lecture, add menu provider, and then we're gonna add an object here, a companion object, as I told you guys last week. We're gonna have a menu provider, and then we're gonna write everything, all the code here. And remember, we did something here. We add like a view lifecycle owner, and there was a reason why we did that. Please refer to the last lecture. All right, this is very important to understand this view lifecycle owner. And then where is it? We need to implement. Hold on, where is that? Provider object. Why is this giving? I think I just need to add a couple of implement members. All right, so that's what I need to do. It gives me um, two functions, right? What happens on create menu, and when I'm creating the menu, and what happens when we select the menu, right? So we need to take care of that. First of all, we're just gonna do this, right? We're just gonna inflate the menu that we just created in this menu. We just created the stream detail menu, right? So we're just gonna inflate that in the menu inflator, inflate, and then we're just gonna do r.menu.fragment dream detail, right? Remember, this is going to be fragment dream detail, and then the menu is already given to us, so we're just going to add that to the menu that is given to us, and this is just going to inflate that menu, right? This is and um and later we're going to do something here. We haven't done it now, but if there is, check if no camera, then remove the menu item. Say for example your Android application, for some reason there is no camera, then we're going to remove it, right? So we're going to do that later, so that we can gracefully let the user know that there's no camera. The second thing is, after you click on those buttons, right, what does it happen? We're going to handle it exactly the same way we handled it the last lecture. We're going to just say when, and we're going to do menu item.id, item ID. This is given to us. It's just going to check what's in the menu item. And the first item we have is there. Remember, there's two items in this menu dream detail. It's one is the shared dream menu and this take photo menu, right? So we're going to handle both of those here like we did in the last lecture. Shared dream menu, and then we're going to do something like this, and then we're just going to let's log something, right? Let's just log something here. We're going to say ddf, that's dream detail fragment, and then we're going to say share dream menu clicked. And then we need to return true. After it has been clicked, we just need to return true. It expects a Boolean. And then we r.id.take photo menu, right? So there's two menus here. This is just like a switch statement, right? Remember, this is basically like an if else, nothing else is clicked, then we just do return false here. And then here we also do the same thing. Let's just log this same thing here. Let's just say take photo menu clicked. All right, so take photo menu clicked. And that's it. And then we return the true. Okay, so now let's actually try running this first. Make sure, try doing this. All right, so don't try to write all your code at once and then like try running at the end and like nothing works, and then you don't know where it's not working, right? It's good to build the app incrementally, right? I think that's what got me through my college years, was like just building things slowly. I was able to build like massive applications, just testing small things at a time. All right, so let's look at this, and let's open the Logcat. And I'm going to take a bathroom break after I um, finish this, clicking on this. It says share dream menu clicked, right? It's working. And that's for you guys to implement, right? I'm not implementing that share dream. I think that's feature number 4 or 5. I'm not sure. Please work on that. And then take photo menu clicked. All right, so this is working so far. The menu is working, right? So please give me a break for like a minute. I'll be back. All right, I hope everything is making sense so far. Can you guys hear me? Can someone give me a thumbs up? All right, so I get a thumbs up again, 2 thumbs up. Cool. Thank you for letting me. Can you guys see the screen as well? Can you guys see the Android? Okay, 2 thumbs up again. All right, so you guys see the screen. Let's continue working on this. All right, so let's continue. We just created the menu. Let us just recap what we did. We just created this menu for the dream detail, and then we painfully made this layout with the pictures and everything for you guys to work on, and add this floating button and everything. And we did the same thing here, right? Oh, okay, actually, before that, we did some configuration, and then we painfully created this layout, added this reflection button, which is still not working, not where it's supposed to be, but that's your homework, right? I don't want to fix everything for you guys. And then we clicked on those menu items, and then it gave us we did the same thing that we did last week, and then we just basically um, we just like checked what happens when you click on those, right? And then we logged some of these values, right? So that's where we're at, and we did this. We also add this view lifecycle owner. Please refer to the last lecture, right? This is very important to add. There's a reason why we're attaching this to the fragment. Okay, so now we need to create a photo launcher, which will basically wait for us to take pictures and give us the true Boolean value when the picture was taken, right? So this will make sense. Let me do this a little bit right now, but this will definitely make sense after I show you guys some examples here. But let me go to Dream Detail Fragment. Let me write the code for the photo launcher here. And then this might not immediately make sense why we're doing this, but just have faith again. It's gonna make sense after I show you some examples here. I'm gonna open the app and show you guys what this is doing, right? Photo launcher, and then we're gonna do register for activity result, and then we're gonna add the contract here. Activity result. So basically this is gonna wait for the app to take a picture, and when it takes the picture, it will basically, like, if um, you get an option to keep that picture or not. But if you do end up keeping that picture, then this will basically give a true Boolean, right? So here, if I say this gives you this variable here, this called took picture. So if I do log, I'm going to show you guys some examples. W, and then we just do DDF. took picture result, and then we're going to do took picture. So if the picture was taken, then this will give us a true value, right? So this is basically, just think about this as it's waiting for a picture to be taken. And once the picture is taken, hold on. Yeah, once the picture is taken, then this will give you, and then you decide to save it, then it will say took picture. All right, so this is basically what this is doing, right? And then that's the photo launcher, right? So now we need to go to dream.kt and make some changes. So you need to, I don't know if I've given this for you in the canvas, or maybe I have not. Let me just check that. If I have given that to you, that dream.kt file, or maybe you need to do it yourself, actually. I think you might have to do it yourself. Let's just make a small change here in the dream.kt file, the Kotlin file. So let's just go there, and we're just going to add one thing here. We're going to name, for the pictures, we're going to give a name for those pictures, right? So we're going to say photo file name, and then we're going to say get, like the rest. And then here we're going to say image. We're going to name that image as image underscore, whatever the unique ID is, id.jpg. And the image is going to be the JPEG format, right? So this is going to be the name of the image. So if your ID is 123, then it's going to be image underscore 123.jpg, right? So that's the name of the image. That's the first thing I need to do. What else do I need to do? So that's what else? So let's go back to the dream detail fragment. I think that should be enough for now. So we need to do a few things now, right? When we go to this, let's go over here now. What happens when you do the take photo menu, right? So we need to keep on working on some stuff, right? So first of all, we're gonna get the dream and the value of that dream. And then only if it's not null, right? That's why we're using this let. That's basically, it will give this dream value, and it will be storing it, actually. It is the dream now, dream value, right? So we want the dream value. And remember why we're doing this dot value, right? This we are using this value because if you go to this dream detail view model, where is the dream detail view model? You see that this is a state flow, right? But we need the value of that, right? It's not simply a dream at this point. It is a mutable state flow, right? So to get that, we need to get the dream dot value. And then after you get the value and it's not null, so why we are doing this is we will skip if the dream is null, right? If the dream is null, then it doesn't matter. We don't need to update, but it's not going to be null because it is, the dream is there, going to be there unless there's an issue. Second thing is we're going to go to, where is that? So we're going to create a photo file. So basically what this does is, let me just make some of this, creates a file object named photo file in the app's internal storage. So we need to create a photo file to be able to save the picture, right? App internal directory. So we're going to do something like file, and then we're going to add ask, right? So first thing we're going to add is, oops, we need to import this. So what kind of is, it's file IO, I think. Yeah, it's java.io, I think that's, yeah, let's import this class. What did it do here? Yeah, that's good. Java file, that's good. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to require context. And I'm going to explain to you why we're doing this. Require activity dot files dir. So that basically apps internal storage directory for files, right? So this is where the files are stored. And you actually need the activity for this. It cannot be done through a fragment. So this, whenever you see this require activity, is basically saying it has to be done with a fragment, right? And the second thing is we need the file name, right? So the name of the file after we take the picture is gonna be file name associated with the dream. So basically, remember this it is basically the dream, right? Because we are inside this let, if you remember what this let does. And this it is basically a dream, and it goes to that dream, and then we'll get that photo file name, which we just created in that dream.kd, right? We just created this. So now we get that, and file name associated with dream, with that dream, right? So that's what it's doing. And we are, so that's good. We created the now we need to create a photo URI, converts this photo file. So what this photo URI does is photo file into a URI, because Android does not allow direct file paths to be shared. So you just need to do this, right? I mean, it just needs to be done. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is just the steps. And then photo URI, you just name this like this, file provider. This is where we're going to get it from. File provider, get URI for file. And then we're going to, it's going to require context. The first thing, which is this fragment, which is dream detail fragment. This is the context. And then we're going to add the authority. Authority is basically going to be edu dot. So this is going to be the same thing we added in this Android manifest file, right? Whatever you see here, this file provider, we just need to copy and paste this here, basically. That's all that is doing, right? And this is basically what this is doing. And this is a unique name we provided. So this is a unique that was given in the Android manifest file. And then ultimately we're gonna have the photo file that was here. We just need to use that, and photo file. And lastly, we're just gonna launch this with the photo launcher. So we created this photo launcher. It's gonna wait, and then whenever it's launched and picture is taken, it's just gonna do all this saving, right? It's gonna name the file, it's gonna save it in the directory that we provided. So this is basically all that is doing here. Photo launcher dot launch, and then we'll just provide the photo URI. All right, hopefully this works. All right, so let's see, run the program. Let's run this program and see what happens now. Okay, so let's run this program. It's launching. Let's go to, let's take a picture. Okay, it's connecting with the camera. It's working, right? Or you might get some weird stuff in the beginning. You might see something like this or something like that. Just change it. All right, so just change this to this thing, and it should give you this. And then you can set a timer. You can put a grid box or not. I think you need to hold shift or something like that to go. Yeah, so I can go top and bottom. I can, things like that. I can go closer. I forgot, hold shift to control the camera. So I can go a little bit forward here, different things like that. Let me just take a picture, right? And let's open the Logcat actually to show you guys what I meant. So let me just clear the Logcat. If I take the picture and then I just canceled it, I don't click on this this checkbox, but I click on this cross sign, then it's going to say took picture result false. So this photo launcher, what this is going to do is it's just saying took picture result false, right? This, we didn't actually take the picture, right? But let's do this again, but we'll just take the picture. Um, take the picture here, and then there's a cat here. Let me save that picture. Took picture result true, right? So it says true picture. So now the picture has been taken, right? It has even been saved. This thing has even been saved. If you can go to this device explorer, and if you go to, where do you need to go? I think it's in this files or something. Let's see, where's the files? Anyways, I'll get to this. All right, so let me get to this. This is somewhere in my, I need to figure this out. So let's get to this. Let's go step by step, right? So if we I think it's in a data. Let me look at that real quick. It's in the data, I think, a data, not app data, and then we go to this Dreamcatcher. So many files. Dreamcatcher, hopefully this is the Dreamcatcher. And then files. Remember how we stored this in the files, right? Remember that, how we configured that, the files XML. And you see that picture. This thing is that picture, I think, that we just took. If we can open that. Yeah, you see that the picture that we just took, that's the picture. All right, so that took that picture. All right, we can see that picture, where it is and everything. Okay. All right, so that's working. It's taking the picture and saving it. Now we need to update the photo, right? So the picture is there. We took the picture, but it actually needs to show on the screen, right? It's not showing anything right now. We actually need to show that right now. Like after we take a picture, it should show up over here, that picture. All right. So let's work on that now. Let's work on that real quick. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna go is we're gonna go to the update view. Where is the update view? So update view is whenever something change has been made to the view, this is where it's gonna go. We're gonna create a function called update photo, actually. Update photo, this is where you're gonna update the pictures. And then we're just gonna pass the dream. We have no such function as update photo, so we just create this function, fun update photo, and then we just get dream, and then we're gonna use this function, right? So we're gonna first of all, we're gonna add so if you go to this, you're given this pictures util, you need this, you need to download this. This is given to you. So please download that and add it in the project, right? So you need to copy and paste it here. I'm just gonna copy and paste. I already have downloaded it. I'm just gonna copy and paste it here. So now I can see the pictures.util it's here. You need that, you need this get scale bitmap function, right? So please remember to copy and paste that and put it in your project. And then after that we're gonna okay, so let's start by logging here that it's actually gonna be called first. We're just gonna put a tag here, ddf update photo called. After it's called, you're just gonna print that, and then we're gonna get the photo file. We just need to get that photo file from the directory, right? So we're gonna have to call the file, and then to get that, we're gonna have to do require activity dot. We need to get the directory, and then we need to give that name, which is in the dream dot photo file. That's the name of the file, right? So we need the name of the file to get that file, fetch that file from that directory. And now we need to, first of all, we need to check if the file exists, right? We need to check if the file exists. So how do we do that? Because remember, many pictures don't have any, many dreams, they don't have any pictures, right? We only took a picture for one of those dreams. So we need to first of all check if that photo file exists, right? For majority of them right now, there's no picture, right? So we need to make sure that the picture exists first of all. And then that's what we do. And then let's just log this as well, just so that we know where we are at. ddf photo exists. Now we want to write code to set it to 80 by 80 or 80 by 80. That's why we want to do that picture. We need to set that on the screen in the dream detail fragment. So how we do that is we're going to go to the binding, right? So we're going to go to that binding. So if we go to this binding, this is called the dream photo, right? So this, we need to go to that dream photo. How do I get to that? We just simply call on the binding that we're given, which is the dream, it's binding to this thing, right? So we need to call that, and then we need to call this dream photo here. So we just call that dream photo, and then we need to do something on the layout, right? So do on layout. And now what we can do on this layout is we can just give the image that's image view. And in that image view, we're gonna first of all scale it using that function that we just created, that function that we just downloaded, gate scale bitmap. And then first of all, we're gonna do photo file dot path. We're gonna put the image view dot width. Remember, the width of this picture is set to 80, right? Where is that picture? It's set to 80. So now it's gonna get that width here from that image. So this is basically getting this image view is basically getting that image for us here now. And then we're gonna do image view dot height. That's basically getting that image. And hold on. And then now we're just gonna do binding dot dream photo. That's the same photo here. And then this is what we're gonna do on the layout. And now we're gonna give the set image bitmap, and then we're just gonna give this bitmap that we just created of this particular size from this directory. Basically, we got the photo file.path, and then we're just gonna bind this image here. So this should work, right? This should work. But what if this image does not exist? We still need to do something here. So we need to do something here. Log.w, we're gonna say ddf again here. We need to do something if we're just gonna say photo does not exist for this stream. For this stream, the photo does not exist. And then we're gonna do binding dot dream photo dot set image bitmap, just set it to null so that it doesn't have any image there. All right, so let's try running the app. I know we're getting way over time. We have 5 people still faithfully watching this lecture video. But yeah, we try to finish this today. All right, so this is probably the most challenging feature for your project here, which we're working on right now. So let's do foster a pet, and then it doesn't have a picture right now. Let's take a picture here quickly. So let me hold shift. Let me go around. Let me just take a picture of a dog here, not a cat. So there's how do I zoom out? Oh, you need to use WASDQA. So let me just go back. So that's how I do it. It says over here to use WASD, right? So let me take a picture here of this dog. I took a picture. Give me a check sign. I hope this works. Okay, we have a picture of a dog here, right? It's working. That's very cool, isn't it? It's working. But there's a problem with this, right? The problem with this code right now that I'm writing here is you see this function update photo, right? Every single time I click on this fulfilled or like deferred, every single time I'm clicking on that, it goes to this update view function, and then it calls on this update photo function. And then this operation, this set bitmap, is a pretty expensive operation. So we don't want to call this update photo over and over. Every single time I'm doing something, it's just calling that, right? So these are very inefficient. Or even if I'm changing something, foster a pet or dog, right? Even when I'm typing something, this is updating it, right? So this is very, very inefficient. This is not a good look, right? So we need to create something called cache. We need to learn how to do caching, right? Let me drink some water here, and then I'll show you how to do this. We need to do something called caching. So let's work on caching now. Let me close this. Let's work on caching. So we have something called a tag for every pictures. So we're gonna use that tag to basically create a cache here, right? So how do I do that? So we have the binding, we have the dream photo, that thing has something called a tag. And then if that tag is not equals to the dream photo file name, then if it doesn't have this, then we are going to run this code, this whole code. The only way we're going to run this code is if a picture has not been taken before. Basically, this is, and then we're just going to put it here, basically, right? And now after the picture has been taken, what we're going to do is we're going to set this tag binding. We're going to give something to this tag so that it doesn't go in this loop again, so that it just caches already. All right, so tag equals to dream.photo file name. So now this is going to look at that, and then this is not going to go inside this loop, right? So it's not going to go inside that loop. And then here we're going to do something similar, binding. If it doesn't have dream photo.tag, since it doesn't have picture, I'll just say null here. It doesn't have any tag. All right, so that's good. And else if log.w, that means let's ddf. This is basically saying update not required, cache exists. Okay, so this is good. I think now let's look at this. Now let's run this code. So let's go over here. Let's do foster adapter pair. Now every single time I click a fulfilled or deferred, it's now not going. It won't go to this update photo again, right? Because it will remember this tag, and then it will just skip here. It will just skip on updating this now because it has a tag now, right? So the problem with this is there's one little problem with this that we need to address. The problem with this is if I take a new picture, say I take a picture of a cat. So let me go back, take a picture of the cat. Go back. Hold on, how do I go back? Okay, I want to take a picture of this cat. And then I save this picture of a cat. So now it's still giving me the picture. I don't know if you can see it. It's still giving me the picture of the dog, right? So this is not updating. So this will not keep on updating, right? Because it just says like, okay, I have the tag. I don't need to update the picture, right? But when we take a new picture, the tag should be nulled, right? But it's not doing that anymore because it doesn't go here. It's not nulling it anymore, right? So to do that, we need to fix something very small. Obviously, we cannot put that tag here because that basically it's just pointless if we do that. It's the same thing, right? But after you take a new picture, which is at the photo launcher here, after you take a picture, you want to binding.dream_photo.tag, make it null so that it can update the picture. And second of all, you want to go to that dream and update the dream. And then we get the value from this. And then we call that function update photo that we just created with this stream, right? We just passed this stream. So now let's try this again. I hope this is making sense to you guys so far. I had to go into a lot of details today, technical details, and it's a very like I don't know, like detailed engineering, right? What we did is a lot of moving parts. So now it's giving me a new picture, right? But let's say I want to take a new picture. Again, I want to take a picture of a bookshelf now. I'm tired of dogs or cats, I just want to take a picture of a bookshelf. All right, so I'll take a picture of this bookshelf and click on this check mark. Now you see I get a picture of this. So now this is efficient, and also it's going to change the picture, right? So we are, I think we are mostly done. There's one more thing left for this. I think there's one more thing left, which is not even going to be like that significant because this is just, yeah, it's not going to matter too much, but we need to, I told you something in the beginning. If we have no camera, then we should remove this from the menu item, which is silly because most of the Android does have camera, but we do need to handle this, right? So we can't, as a programmer, leave these things up to chance. We do need to handle these things, right? So first of all, we're just going to create this function. We're going to create this function called canResolve. I'm not going to go into too much detail what this is doing. I'll just put it there, right? And you can look up what this does. How much time do we have left? I think I might have time for phase 3 as well from project 2B today. I'm just gonna keep on going now. Intent, we're gonna return a Boolean. We're gonna write this code, all right? So let me, we want to resolve this using a package manager. So if there's anything that is willing to take care of this activity, then it will return true, else it will return false. That's all this code is doing, right? Just think that's all this code is doing, right? So this is gonna go to package manager, not a package name manager, and then it's trying to resolve if there's anything that can actually take care of this, right? Resolve activity, and then the intent has been passed. The intent is to take pictures, and then package manager is going to look at all the stuff there, and then if there's anything that's willing to take the pictures, then it's going to give you a true. Else it's going to return you a false, right? So that's all this what's happening here. Hold on. What did I do here? That's so require activity dot package manager resolve activity intent package manager dot and it's not equals to null, right? You just need to return that, give you either a true or false, right? And now we need to call this function from here. If there is no camera, we need to remove it, right? So to do that, we'll write another like very specific code that you might be thinking like, what is this doing? You know, but just bear with me. Let's just finish this. And so here we're going to do if that menu item is going to be visible or not. We're just going to say menu find item menu dot find item. We're going to say r.id dot take photo menu. That's the menu we care about. Is visible. This is going to be visible, right? If certain things, certain conditions are met. So we're going to say can resolve. We're going to pass the intent. A photo launcher dot contract dot create intent. So that's our intent, right? Taking the picture, require context. And we are just going to say URI.empty. Just in case we're going to put a URI empty, right? Unless it doesn't find that. All right, so this is simply going to remove the camera if it's not visible. So I think, so I cannot test it. I mean, there's no way, I mean, there's maybe a way to test it, but I mean, it does have a camera, so I can't show you guys like that it actually works. But that's the basically, I think we are done. We are done with actually lecture this we just finished take a picture. We finished number 5. Maybe this was the more complicated one. So yeah, we're done with this part. You need to implement this display to zoom in a dialog. Please look at that in the book. I think you should be able to figure this out. But we're done with project phase 2C feature number 5. What I'm going to do right now, like I said, this is going to be a long lecture. I'm going to actually implement the dialog box that we're supposed to implement for project 2B. So let me just do that. So this is it, right? We're done with this. So we took a picture. Let me take a picture. Let me go a little bit back, take a picture of this dog or a cat. Maybe it is a dog. I'm not sure. So it took a picture and we're done with that, right? So now you need to implement the share feature yourself as well. You learned a little bit about implicit intent. It's going to be similar to this as well, maybe a little bit different. I think the book has some ideas how to solve this. But I'm going to use the rest of this lecture time to finish project 2B phase 3. Feel free to head out. I see that we have 4 more students faithfully enduring till the end. And if you guys want to stay longer, that's okay, but I am going to record this, right? All right, so we are done with that feature 5. Let's work on project 2B dialog, right? So let's work on that. So let me close this. We wrote a lot of stuff today. Dream detail fragment. It's working. This is good. We don't need this. Remove dream.kt. remove that. All right, so let's get started. We have two more students. That's okay. You guys can leave if you want to. If you want to stay, that's fine with me as well. But let me just finish recording this and that I can upload this on Canvas, right? So let's do this, right? So we didn't make a dialog box in project 2B chapter 14. We'll complete the dialog box. The dialog box was basically to add the reflection. We will be adding that, and actually we already added that floating thing. Yeah, we already added that floating button. So one thing that was really bothering me was like this one, right? Let's look at that if I can fix that here. Space was match parent 0. Yeah, I can't figure. Yeah, I think I know what's going on. It's okay. We can, you guys can figure that out. That's the first thing. And then we need to actually create a dialog box. We need to create a new resource. We need to create a new resource file, a layout. Let's create a layout resource, actually. New layout resource file. And then we're going to call it fragment reflection. Yeah, I think this should be a short. It's not going to take a whole lot of time. I think it's going to be done pretty quickly, this dialog thing. So let's create this dialog. This is to create that dialog box. And then in this top of this tree, we'll get this. Let's replace this to a horizontal, right? So convert view, linear layout, horizontal, which is fine. And then we're going to add a plain text to it. We'll just add this plain text. Where is the plain text? Plain text to it. We'll just add that plain text to it. Hold on, where do I have that? Menu, action dialog. And then we're going to call this is a plain text. We're going to call this reflection, and make sure these are matching. It's going to matter. Cancel, hold on. I'm not done with this. Refactor this reflection text, which is fine. Let's make this match parent. It has to match parent. Then the height is wrap content, which is fine. We don't need layout width. Let's give a hint to the users. Let's remove this. We don't need that. Input type. Input type is text or text. How do I do this? Text. Really doesn't matter, but we'll just say text or text cap sentences. And then input type, that's fine. Let's do add a min. Let's add a hint. So hint is not a text. Hint is basically hint. I mean, it's not a text. It's just giving you hint what to do in there, right? It's not a text. We just say reflection hint is enter reflection here or something like that, right? We just say that. This gives you a hint. Enter reflection here, text. Let's remove this. Enter reflection here. Match parent wrap content, hint, ID, input type. Let's add the min height here as well. Min height is at least 48 dp. So we're gonna add that. And I think that's about it. I think that should be the, yeah, that should be that, right? So, so let's create a new fragment for this dialog box. We're gonna create a new fragment. We're gonna name it reflection dialog fragment. Reflection dialog fragment. Reflection dialog. I hope I'm make sure that this is correct. Fragment, which is good. And then just go to the add some of this stuff in the string.xml, just some of these things, just copy and paste. I'm just gonna go to this string.xml. We just need some things, new things here. I'll just say add reflection, add or cancel, right? That's the button. We need to add that in the button. I just added that. And then we're going to write some code for this. It's a fragment. It's a dialog fragment, actually. Dialog fragment, remember, it's a little bit different. If we remember the lecture, it does give us some flexibility, specifically for creating the dialogues. We're going to have two different functions. We're going to say on create dialog. So this is where the dialog is going to be created. And here we're going to do some things to return the dialog. So we're just going to create a binding. Remember, the binding is the fragment reflection. This is the binding that we just created, this reflection, fragment reflection dialog. So that's the binding, fragment reflection dialog binding. And then we're going to inflate that and use the layout inflator to put that in this fragment. And then we're going to have to return something, right? So here we are going to use specifically alert dialog to build a new dialog. So we're going to use this to create this new dialog. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to return alert dialog. Again, we're not using the calendar, right? I think in the book it was your calendar, but we're just going to use this one. And then we're going to require context, which is basically this class is the context, right? It's giving you the context. Now we're going to set something, set view. We're going to make the view as the binding.root, which is basically this binding is the root. And then we're going to set the title. And then we're going to set it based on r.string.reflection dialog title, right? Which we just created here in the string.xml, add reflection, right? We just created that. We're still not done here. We're going to do set positive button. For this positive button, we're going to do string.reflection dialog positive, which is add. The positive button is going to be add. And then we're just going to put the listener as null for now. We're going to change this in a little bit, but just bear with me for now. Negative button. It's going to be r.string.reflection dialog negative. And then we're going to do null. And this is going to be your add button. And this is going to be your cancel button. Cancel. It's still giving me errors, maybe because I need to show it, right? And then this is going to return you this alert dialog after once I show it, right? So that's all we need to do so far. Now what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to go to the dream detail fragment, and in the dream detail fragment it should be able to go navigate to this reflection dialog fragment, right? So to do this, we're just gonna go to the snap graph navigation, nav graph. And remember, we need to import the new fragment that we just created. To do that, we'll just do a plus sign here, reflection dialog fragment, right? So I'm just going to put this dialog fragment here so that it's easy. And then I'm going to create an arrow from here to here. It goes from detail fragment to here, right? Remember this snap graph, right? We have done this before. I hope this makes sense to you guys. And then it should have this action button. Now it's named something complicated here. We're just going to tell this show add reflection. We're going to do that, refactor it, and then it's just going to show this, right? One thing is missing is this preview is unavailable. We're just going to change this. It's pretty straightforward to do this. We're just going to, like how we did with this previous two, we can just go here to this dialog and then add this tools.layout, and then just add the reflection dialog fragment. And then that should add this here, right? So now from here, it should go over here, right? So I hope that's everything for this one. Yeah, we changed the ID and then add the tools. Okay, so I think that's good enough for now. So now let's go to, so this snap graph is done. Now we need to go to the dream detail fragment. Let's go to the dream detail fragment. And then we're specifically going to go to the onView create function. OnView created function. Where is that onView created? So we're going to go to this onView created function. And then here we're going to add a binding for the reflection. When we click on that reflection, add reflection button. When we click on that, let's set a on-click listener. We add this on-click listener, find nav controller. So now we need to be able to go there, right? How do we do this? With this navigation controller, right? So let's go here, navigate to dream detail fragment direction dot show add reflection that we just created right now. Remember that that's what we just created for the nav graph. Where is that nav graph? Yeah, right. We just created this show. What happened here? Show add reflection, right? That's basically what we just did here. We just called that. Once we click on that, right, we are just calling on that. So we just wrote this function in the onView created function. Now let's try running this code. It's not going to do a whole lot. It's not going to save. It's not going to do anything. But at least it's going to run. It's the dialog box is going to appear now, hopefully. So let's go here. Click on this. Now you see the dialog add reflection is working here, right? So that's what we need. This is working. It's not going to do anything right now. We haven't saved anything. So that's good so far, right? So we made some progress here. Now we need to go to the reflection dialog, this dialog fragment, and set up some stuff. We don't need this nav graph anymore. Let's close that. The play is going to be between these two fragments, right? They're just going to communicate with each other now. First of all, we need to create a companion object. So actually we need two keys to be able to pass this value from here to there. One is going to be the request key. Request key is basically like requesting from this fragment, and the bundle key is where we're going to store the value, right? So we're going to put this in a static object, right? Static variable, so that it can be accessed by dream detail fragment, so that it doesn't have to be initialized, right? So since this is static, and we've done this in project 1C, I think. We'll say request key, and then we're going to say reflection dialog request. This is requesting from this fragment. Another is we're going to create a bundle. We're just going to store the value in this bundle, right? Basically the string. Anything that's in the dialog is going to be stored in this entry key. So we're going to have these two keys. That's going to be put in here, which is good. And then we need to add like so remember, when we click on the positive, it just goes to null right now, right? It doesn't do anything. But we need to add a positive listener here. To do that, we're going to say positive listener. And then we're going to create a dialog interface. And when you click on that, on click listener, we have the dialog, we are given, I think, two different things. We don't need this. Basically, we can just remove that. We don't need this which or the dialog or whatever. We know where it's going. We only need that. And then we're going to have the result. We're just going to get the text from the reflection text in that, right? Remember, the reflection text is coming from this dialog, a fragment dream. So this is reflection text, right? That's where this is coming from. Reflection text, the text, the toString, right? We need to change it to toString. Then we get the text from that. And then we're going to set it. We're going to pass this back to the request key, and we're going to pass it to the dream detail fragment, right? We're just going to pass it there. So we're going to do bundle of, we're just going to get this here. We're going to add the bundle key. And then the second thing we're going to add is bundle key to result. So basically this is going to pair this bundle key and put this result and put it inside this bundle key. And this bundle key is going to be accessed from here to get the data, right? So that's all that is doing here. It needs to request, and then after it's successful, this data is stored in bundle key. It needs to access that. So now instead of null here, we need to add this positive listener here. I think that's all we need to do, and I think we're done on this side. Positive listener, and then basically this is gonna. All right, so that's that. So we just have one more thing. on the dream detail fragment, a tiny bit, and then we're going to be done here. First of all, let's go to on view created. Where is that? So let's go to on view created, and then we need to set a listener. If that passes you anything, we need to be able to listen to that, right? So let's do that, and then we're going to add a reflection dialog fragment dot. Hold on. Yeah, request key, just requesting something from there. And now it's going to give us few things. We just need the bundle. That's what we need. And then we're gonna get the val entry. And then how do we get that data? Is bundle get string reflection dialog fragment dot bundle key. That's where we're gonna get the data from. If there's nothing, if it's empty, then we're just gonna get an empty string. And then we're gonna log that first. Let's just log that, make sure everything works. DDF detail fragment and got entry. Hold on. Put that in a message, got entry. And then we're just going to put the entry here. And that's it, right? So this is going to give us that whatever we type in that dialog box. So that's what it's going to give us. Let's work on that now. Let's see what we get here on the. Wow, it might be my record today, like almost a 2-hour lecture. All right, so let's go here. Let's add something. Let me get my logcat ready to see if it actually works. Clear logcat. Let me just add Amun Corral and then add it. What happened here? Where is, oh yeah, you say got entry Amun Corral. Let me try one more time. There's too many things here. Let me add Amun Corral, and then it should give you here that what you see got entry Amun Corral. So we got the data, right? So we got the data. The last thing we need to do is we need to add that inside the dream and add that entry and make it a new reflection. That's the only thing left that's to be done. Add the dream entry to the existing dream. So to do that, I don't think I'm gonna do too much. I think I will just, this is just, you just need to add the dream. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I think we've already done this before, update dream. So basically you just need to go to this dream detail view model, and then you just need to update this dream, right? You need to pass a function as we have done in the previous project. We're gonna pass the old dream and pass like a function in this update dream function, and then we're gonna do old dream dot copy. We need to get those old entries first. Apply, and we're just gonna do entries equals to old. We're just gonna have the same old dream entries dot entries plus dream entry. We need a new dream entry. Remember that, right? We're gonna add one more entry to this dream entry. The dream entry is gonna be of the kind dream entry kind dot reflection, because we just added a new reflection. The text is gonna be entry, whatever was passed in here, we're just gonna put it here for that entry. And then the dream ID is gonna be old dream. The entry for this ID is gonna be just the old dream.id, right? Basically, why am I getting an error here? Okay, old dream.id, right? So that's the ID, and apply. Yeah, we're just copying the old one. We're just applying the old entries, but the only thing we're doing is adding this new entry. And I think, okay, let's try this. Oh, actually, before we try this, let's do one more thing here. Let's just do one small thing here, and then we'll be done. We should not be able to have the add reflection button if it's already fulfilled, right? If it's already fulfilled, then we need to hide that, right? To do that, we need to go to the update view function. Let's go to this update view. Let's write a function here. If dream is fulfilled, then binding dot add reflection button, we're gonna hide it. Else, we're gonna keep it. Binding dot add reflection button dot show. All right, so that's the last thing I would say. I think we're done with this. Hopefully we're done with this. All right, so let's look at this, right? So let's go to, it already has 3 reflection. Let's go to maybe another one that only has 1 reflection. Let's add some reflection here. So we'll do add reflection here, and then we'll say hello reflection. And then it should give us that reflection, right? Hello reflection is working now, you see? And then let's do another one. Let's just say reflection 1, 2. And then you see reflection 2. It's working, right? So now if I click on the deferred button disappeared, right? But if I click on the fulfilled, this button should disappear. Remember that button has to disappear. So this is working. The picture taking functionality is working. Let's take a picture here. To end this class on a good note, let me take a picture of this. All right, that's a nice picture. Very handsome. Save this, and it has a picture, and that's working. So I think we have 1 student left on the line here. I think everybody has left. We are done with this lecture. That's done. Let me stop sharing. So thank you very much for listening to this. I will maybe record another lecture tomorrow so that you guys get ahead on your project. So this is the end of the lecture, very long lecture, but we covered a lot of ground today. So please be on the lookout. This lecture is going to be uploaded, but also I might make a lecture this week for next week so that you guys can finish project 2C early. All right, so please start working on 2C as quickly as possible so that you are not late submitting the assignment. All right, so you have a nice day. I'm gonna upload this to the Canvas soon. Bye-bye.